Hello, this is Theresa May. I can't come to the phone right now, as I'm hiding in the airing cupboard from some shouty orange men.
Prime Minister, it's David Davis here, Master Negotiator. Just back from the opening Brexit talks, we nailed it. Britain won, the EU about 17 when I lost count. Anyway, I was just in a cab back to the hotel. Driver's one of those European types, foreign with the hair. Thought I'd test some of my legendary negotiating skills on him. He wanted €30 for the trip. And I goes, hey, Britain will pay no more than €2. And I wasn't budging. I said, Signor, I don't care what your meter says. You should have seen his face. Anyway, to cut long story short, he's driven me out to the middle of nowhere and dumped me in this field and taken my wallet. And if you could send someone to rescue me, maybe the AA or the SAS, that'd be smashing. Brexit Bulldog out.
This is Theresa May. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hello, it's David Davis again. Now, remember I was in the middle of nowhere? Well, I only saw a shack in the distance and walked towards it. Old farmer bloke answered the door, real peasant. No match for your Brexit Bulldog, the master negotiator. Offered him €20 for his rusty old car. Britain wouldn't pay a penny more, I said. He scoffed, but I held my ground. This is the British you're dealing with here, Pedro. The land of Churchill, Shakespeare, Belinda Messenger and Noel Edmonds. Laughed in his face, I did, because I'm British. Oh yes, British. Anyway, long story short, I'm currently naked and tied to a chair in his basement with a rather large pig. He wants a ransom from the British government for my release of €50,000, but this master negotiator won't pay more than €5 tops. Yes, now, down, nice piggy. Down, piggy. No, that isn't your supper. That's a British sausage. Get out. Get out. Brexit Bulldog, out.
This is Theresa May. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hello, it's David Davis again. Master negotiator. Now, remember I was in the basement with that pig? Well, good news. I've successfully negotiated my release from the basement. But the bad news is, the pig now owns Gibraltar.
Hello, this is Theresa May. I can't come to the phone right now because I'm down the garden centre looking for a magic money tree. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hello, PM. It's David Davis, your Brexit Bulldog and Master Negotiator. Still wowing Johnny Foreigner with my masterly negotiating skills. So earlier, the Bulldog took a stroll into the old town. Found a little restaurant, lovely grub. Foreign, but not in a deportation van kind of way. So the bill arrives, €40. Don't think Manuel the waiter was used to dealing with a Brexit Bulldog. I'll pay €5, I said. And he keeps going on about the menu and the prices and how he'll lose his job. You know me, I stood firm. Anyway, long story short, I'm currently hiding in a bush from 3 angry chefs with meat cleavers and I've lost both my thumbs. Send help pronto. Brexit Bulldog out.
This is Theresa May. Please leave a message.
Brexit Bulldog here, Prime Minister. Phew, this negotiating is trickier than I thought. Who'd have thought talks would have lasted longer than a day? Should have packed a spare pair of pants. Now, remember, Prime Minister, how I was being chased through the old town by some angry chefs? Well, the wily old Brexit Bulldog only lost them in the maze of alleyways by ducking into an old curiosity shop. Now, the shop's run by this old gypsy crone who told me she'd hide me if I crossed her palm with silver. You can imagine what the master negotiator said to that. Well, it was just then, out of the corner of my eye, I spotted this gorgeous monkey's paw. Got to be worth 100 smackers, that, on the Antiques Roadshow. I told her I'd give her €5 for it and not a penny more. Well, Mystic Meg starts jabbering on about it not being for sale and something about a curse and powers beyond my control and the monkey's paw destroying all who touch it. Sounds like what the Ramonas used to say about Brexit, eh? Who needs experts? I chuckled. I'm having that monkey's paw, no ifs or buts, you snaggle-toothed gypsy. Anyway, long story short, I'm on the run again, I'm bleeding from my eyes and I think I'm growing a tail. Brexit Bulldog out.
You've reached Theresa May. Please leave a message.
Prime Minister, Brexit Bulldog here. Decided it was time for a strategic retreat, what with the whole me being cursed by an old crone and the monkey paw and bleeding from the eyes and my tail. Met this swarthy chap who said he could get me back to Blighty pronto. That Brexit Bulldog only travels first class, I said, and I'm only prepared to pay €5 for the journey. They don't call me the master negotiator for nothing. Anyway, long story short, I'm currently hanging on to the undercarriage of the Eurostar. And if you could send a car to Calais to pick me up, that'd be smashing. There's no Wi-Fi. My bloody tail keeps sparking on the track. Oh, ow, oh, Brexit Bulldog out.
You have reached the answer phone of Theresa May. I can't come to the phone right now, as I'm hiding inside a stable.
Prime Minister, David Davis, your Brexit Bulldog here. Was up early this morning to head back to Brussels to battle to slay the EU dragons. Had a few minutes to kill, so popped into duty free. The master negotiator only spies a giant Toblerone. I'll give you £5 for it, not a penny more, I said. And the assistant starts blathering on something about it only costing £2, but I wasn't budging. Stood me ground and I got it for £5. Well done me. Trouble was, all this master negotiating meant I was late for my flight. I rushed to the gate, and the ground staff were all, wait, Mr. Davis, sir, this is the wrong flight. Ha-ha! Brexit Bulldog coming through, I barked at them. Leave means leave. Up the gangplank, quick, smart, and on board just as it took off. Anyway, long story short, I've ended up in Vegas. I've just got married to a hooker called Sapphire. She's taken my wallet and my clothes and stuck my Toblerone up my arse. Please send money and anusol. Brexit Bulldog out.
Please leave a message after the beep.
Brexit Bulldog here, Prime Minister. I've had a few setbacks, but I've got Vegas in the palm of my hand. Well, I did until I put the Isle of Man on red. Bloody roulette. Anyway, you know me, always bounce back from a setback, so I doubled down. I won't bore you with all the details, PM, but do I have permission to put the Shetlands up as collateral? Long story short, I'm being dragged into the back office to meet their boss, Tony the Sledgehammer Marinaro. Oh, you'd be proud of me, Prime Minister. Brexit Bulldog wasn't going to be intimidated by a load of swarthy characters with knuckle dusters. The master negotiator swung into action. I've negotiated a deal to stop them killing me. The mafia are very interested in entering into a power-sharing agreement. They are Catholics. I hope that doesn't queer the pitch. Oh, and they would insist on Benny the Weasel being Home Secretary. That's a win in my book. Anyway, long story short, I made a disparaging remark about someone's mum, and I'm in the trunk of a Lincoln convertible being driven out into the desert. Please help me, Prime Minister. My hands are tied, literally, with chicken wire. Brexit Bulldog out.
Please leave a message after the beep.
Prime Minister. It's your Brexit Bulldog here. You remember how I was being driven out into the Nevada desert by 3 mafioso types? Anyway, they marched me from the car to the secluded spot and only hurled a shovel at me. They hadn't reckoned with the master negotiator. I'm not digging my own shallow grave with a shovel, I told them. I want a pneumatic drill or nothing. Long story short, after I finished digging the hole with my bare hands, I was in the dark and completely over my head, which reminded me, I've got to get back to Brussels and negotiate Brexit. Please send help. My phone's on 3%, there's soil in my pants, and I'm about to fight off 3 heavily armed men with my concealed Toblerone. Brexit Bulldog out.
Hello, this is Theresa May. I can't come to the phone right now because I'm at a tear-shedding workshop. Please leave your message after the beep.
Hello, PM. It's David Davis, your Brexit Bulldog here. Still wowing Johnny Foreigner with my masterly negotiating skills. Well, the negotiations are going great. I got 2 biscuits with my coffee today. Who said that locking yourself in the toilets and crying never works? Anyways, bit of a faff at the hotel earlier. Problem with Pedro, the concierge. Pedro's not his name, but I find most foreigners respond to it if you call them it often enough. So I told him to get me a hire car so I could drive around the city and shout at pedestrians in broken English. Anyways, I get to the front desk and he's only got me a Citroen. I don't want your foreign Euro junk, Pedro, I splutter. Get me a proper British BMW pronto. And make it snappy, and stick a free Toblerone in the glove compartment. Well, he could see I meant business. Went away grumbling with his tail between his legs. No one messes with the Brexit Bulldog. Anyway, long story short, I'm in the car, I can't go under 50 miles an hour or the bomb under the car will explode. Whoops! I've just crashed through a sign saying road closed, bridge down ahead, but you know me, PM, always looking on the bright side. The Toblerone's delicious. Bulldog out!
Leave a message after the beep.
Brexit Bulldog here. Don't worry, I've escaped from the burning car. Don't remember how I did it, but I must have done. Just another day of triumph for the master negotiator. Anyway, I'm not sure how, but I got back to EU headquarters. There was this sort of ethereal music and blokes with wings playing harps, sitting on clouds, and I don't know, PM, the waste I can see in Brussels. It's high time we got shot at a lot of them. Anyway, turns out I had to negotiate with a new bloke called Saint Peter. Swarthy, had a book in his hand. He promised me everlasting life and eternal happiness if I repent my sins. Well, I was having none of it. Eternal happiness, Pedro? I'm British. We don't know the meaning of the word. I'm not repenting my sins. It's that cringing, rule-obeying attitude like that got us straight bananas and fire regulations. Anyway, long story short, I've ended up somewhere really hot. This bloke who looks a lot like Michael Gove with horns keeps poking me with a pitchfork, and I'm being forced to watch the last 10 years of Latvia's Eurovision entry for all eternity. Ow! Brexit Bulldog out.
Please leave a message.
Hello, PM. If you remember, I'm in hell. But don't worry, I'm the master negotiator, remember? I took Lucifer to one side, and I offered him the souls of the entire cabinet if he'd let me go. Only turns out he'd already been given them all in exchange for us winning the 2015 election. Look, PM, I can't negotiate in good faith if I don't know all the facts. Anyway, long story short, I said something disparaging about the decor, and he sent me down to the 7th circle of hell, past the people having their brains eaten, past the fornicators having their nuts cut off. Tell Boris it's not as fun as it looks. Past the river of fire and all that. So here I am. Right, here I go. Plunging into the 7th circle of hell. Oh, I'm back in my seat in Brussels at the Brexit negotiations. Result. This is just like the real thing. Only I'm on fire, my balls are in a vice, and someone's drilling my head. Actually, it's exactly like the real thing. Brexit Bulldog out!
Hello, this is the office of Theresa May. I can't come to the phone right now, as I'm pretending that I still run the country.
Prime Minister, it's David Davis, your Brexit Bulldog here. Master negotiator. The things I do for my country. I spent a whole hour in Brussels last week. It was just awful. Even the water tasted foreign. I know I should have stayed longer, but of course, I missed England. I wanted to be home, lounging on my full-price DFS sofa and eating my one for the price of 2 Domino's pizza. Hey-ho, duty calls. I'm back in Brussels now. And this time, I've remembered my notes. I didn't put them in my briefcase, of course. That's empty. Ha-ha! You can't fool the Brexit Bulldog. I knew Pedro at Customs would X-ray it, tell Johnny Brussels all our secret plans in advance. So I was very clever. I rolled my notes up, stuck them inside some empty cigar cases, and strapped them to my body to fool the foreigners. Clever, eh? So, I went to the meeting, and Johnny Brussels was looking all smug, and he waves his huge wodge of A4 in my direction and asked me about my Brexit demands. I open my jacket and yell, "Here's my Brexit demands right here, Pedro." Read them and weep. Anyway, long story short, for some reason, everyone's lying on the floor with their hands on their heads. I can hear helicopters outside and someone's shouting at me through a megaphone. They certainly do their negotiating in a funny way on the continent. Oh well, as they say, when in Rome, avoid the toilets. Brexit Bulldog out.
Please leave your message after the beep.
Brexit Bulldog here, PM. Batting for Britain. Well, if you remember, everyone was on the floor for some reason. There was helicopters outside the window, and they were soon joined by men with guns on the rooftop opposite. Then some bloke in a balaclava and a bomb-proof vest knocks on the door and introduces himself as a negotiator. The cheek of it! I'm the master negotiator around here. He asked me if it's a hostage situation. Good question, I think. Yes, the EU is certainly holding old Blighty hostage with its red tape and its insistence on food standards. So yes, I cry, it's definitely a hostage situation. Then all of a sudden, there's 3 blokes in bomb-proof vests outside,
and I had about 20 dots of red light shining on my body. They asked me about my demands, and I say finally, we're getting somewhere. Down to business, I say. I said, right, for starters, we want to kick out all of the Polish barmaids from the UK, but we want free movement for all our football hooligans. And you have to keep our lobster-coloured expats too. We want all access to your lucrative markets, but we reserve the right to sell you beef-eater dolls covered in lead paint and Union Jack teddies filled with asbestos. Well, he knew I meant business. He's gone back to liaise with his masters. They seem very efficient for once. I'm sure I'll get my answer any minute now. Oh, here he comes back again. I think he's giving some sort of signal to his mates on the roof. Probably something about health and safety, you know. Typical Brussels. I think it's a no, PM. Brexit Bulldog. Out.
Please leave your message after the beep.
Brexit Bulldog here, PM. Batting for Britain. Now, if you remember last time I called, I just got shot by 600 rounds of high-velocity bullets. Well, here's a turn-up. Every one of those bullets hit the giant Toblerone I had in my pocket. Lucky or what? The Swiss certainly build their chocolate to last. Anyway, Johnny Brussels is so mortified that they nearly filled a UK delegate full of lead that they're willing to give us anything we want. Full access to the single market, no divorce payment, free movement for Brits, and no foreigners coming to Blighty without our permission. We got everything we ever wanted from Brexit. Well, you can imagine my response to that. No way, Pedro. I said, you're just trying to confuse me with your cunning, total and abject surrender. So, I kicked him in the nuts, jumped out the window and legged it. So, long story short, I'm in a field in Luxembourg. Remember that pig that owns Gibraltar? I married her. Brexit Bulldog out.